Hi there, that's right, great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. Big welcome to new subscribers who have appeared. It's great to have you on board, and I just wanted to apologise in advance. You know, this channel's become varied because basically I speak about what the heck I see fit. Unlike a lot of people on YouTube, I'm actually pro-religion and I'm pro-spirituality, which some people find a little difficult. What I am against is people using their position of authority or alleged authority because of religion to try and force crap into someone else's mind, or to try and undermine science, or indeed to try and bypass someone's reasoning, to try and turn somebody into an ideological or political slave. I'm against conspiracy theorists because there's something deeply disturbing about the extreme conservative undercurrent which is part of the conspiracy theory movement. You know, there are things that I don't like and I speak out against, and the bottom line is, on this channel I will say whatever the heck I see fit, which will be variable. There's some main things I do discuss, such as the occult. Yes, I am an experimental occultist. I am someone who will do weird shit just to see what happens, and I'm sorry if you don't like that, alright? But that's more your issue than mine, to be quite frank, because I've got curiosity about the world. Some people say, like, you don't actually believe in all that stuff, do you? To which I would say, well, you know, believe in what? If a strange experience happens, it's a strange experience, it's happened, all I can do is describe it. Precisely what it means, God alone knows, basically. And of course, whether God exists or not, that's also up to speculation. And even if God is just imaginary, maybe there is a benefit to actually having an imaginary God. You know, there's still too much which is hypothetical for me to be able to say 110% certainly. I assume and believe that there are other benefits to religion and religiosity than many people within the hard atheist community would possibly consider. And maybe this is due to the effects upon the brain waves, and the rest of that when one is doing weird, mind-altering stuff such as meditation and prayer. That's what I think. So, you know, that's just a basic background about myself, and I wanted to make sure that that was clear to anyone who was new to my channel, so that I don't suddenly frighten you through going off on a weird tangent. Now, I've set up another channel which I'm going to use for railing against the conspiracy theorists, and I'm planning on having a nice little chat with a certain video maker here on YouTube who I dislike intensely, and that will be fun, or at least even if it doesn't give you any pleasure, it will certainly give me some. And to be honest, that's part of it, okay? Because sure, I want you guys to know about me and to know some of the things that I think and some of the things that I say, and like, that's great. But this is not just one big PR exercise. Yes, I want more people to find out about Nick Dutch. I want more people to think this is what Nick Dutch thinks, and that's a good thing. That would be nice. Of course it would. I mean, if you're someone who essentially is involved in the media on the internet, then you'd want the same thing for yourself. But it just wouldn't sit right inside me just to leave it at that. It really wouldn't. So that's why I basically do a bit more. Quite simple. Now, as I said, you know, I do talk out against the conspiracy theorists, and I received a few comments on one of my particular YouTube videos on the subject of the conspiracy theorists, and one of them says, well, yeah, well, you do your demonology video and you have other videos which have strange titles, and as a result of that I would much prefer Alex Jones. Well, you know, there's different classes of people in the world, and they all prefer different things. There's someone like myself who can say, yes, I get on my knees and pray, but I don't know whether God exists or not. Or I do meditation, but I don't know whether there's a spirit world out there. All I know is there's some strange experiences which happen once in a while, and I want to have these strange experiences and see what happens, because that's part of, you know, what I am. I want to find out more. There's only one way I can find out more, and that's through trying, right? Trying for myself. Because the only other alternative is just to meet someone who says that they're some kind of great spooky witch or whatever, who's trying to force their own ideas into somebody, or has reached a time in their life when, you know, they're, you know, like, let's say a woman who's just past the menopause and desperately wants to have children, and instead of actually having biological children or adopting, what she wants to do is to try and grab people who are interested in witchcraft and just turn them into her little children because she's completely screwed in the head. There are people like that out there in the world. I'm 36, alright, and I still have some strange people who occasionally approach me and say, "Why aren't you at school, little boy?" Yes. And I seriously have to hold myself back from fucking punching them in the face, because there's scary people out there who are willing to turn themselves into your teacher, or your priest or your prophet, because they themselves want to have children, and it's their only way of propagating, as it were, their own psychological or spiritual DNA. And so there's no point in me listening to those people, because they've got issues. So I've got to keep away from them, and I've got to carry on basically experimenting by myself. And I've got to be honest. Honesty is essential. I mean, I can turn around to you and I can say something like, I got on my knees and I did some prayer, and just to see what happened, and I used certain words, and I was aware that there was a change in my state of consciousness, namely I was entered into a meditative state of some description, and then all of a sudden I saw a figure of a man who appeared before me for a few seconds, then vanished. That actually happened. Alright, that's what I saw. What would make some sense there is that I went into a meditative state. The words of the mantra, the words of the prayer, added a suggestion into my head, and therefore it made me hallucinate something when I was in that hypnotic trance-like state of mind. That's what would make a lot of sense. However, sometimes these experiences get a little out of hand, and you get some things happening which basically just err on the side of making us want to ask more questions. But there are some people who, of course, want to turn that around into saying that because we've got more questions to ask, that means we've got some answers. No, it doesn't mean you've got answers, it means you've got more questions. There's a difference. Why can't you get that into your thick head? And on the subject of the conspiracy theorists, well, if you prefer Alex Jones rather than someone who's prepared to turn around to you and say, "There's things that I don't know," then fine. Because Alex Jones, his job is to terrify you into submission, so that you end up doing as he tells you, through undermining, every single foundation of knowledge and reality that you've got. Through saying, no, you learned about gravity when you were in school. No, that's a load of rubbish. That's a load of rubbish. No, it's the Illuminati controlling you. Yeah, because it's all like one massive matrix, man. Yeah, and there's aliens and blue beam and all this totally scary, man. But this truth. Alex Jones is just a bad man. You just got to accept that Alex Jones is a bad man. Okay, there's nothing good about him, there's nothing positive about him. He's just a bad man. He's got his own agenda, and the way that he makes his agenda operate is by trying to convince you of something which isn't true. It's a lie. And yeah, he operates his information business in a very, very clever way. A lot of these information businesses, whether it's a religious information business or whether it's a conspiracy theorist, New World Order type, the Illuminati, end times information business, because that's all it is. He's selling information, and the information is bullshit, but he's still selling it. Okay, it's essentially through giving some stuff away for free to get you interested. Alright, to criticize everything you already know, to start the brainwashing process, then provide links to more things, and to try and persuade other people to put other stuff out, which essentially acts as part of the affiliate marketing for his own business. And okay, this is the way it works with religion, it's the way it works with conspiracy theorists. It's all over the place. And then of course there's books, and the books aren't there to educate you, the books are there to brainwash you, because they again undermine your sense, your feeling that you've got knowledge about the world. Okay, they make you doubt yourself. There's it's always going to be angry, aggressive arguments thrown in there, or something which is so logically contorted that it leaves you so confused that you end up accepting their ideas instead of actually thinking further outside of the box. Okay, would you actually be willing to listen to these people and to feel that what they're telling you is 110% solid and true, or to listen to someone who's actually bright enough and brave enough to be able to turn around to you and say, "I don't know, this is where I'm coming from"? And, those three all-important words, "I don't know." Okay, it's 4 words. I do not know, but the do and not has been shortened into don't. But the fact of the matter is, it's a better use of language. and it's a much more honest way of doing things. But there are people who prefer dishonesty. There are people who prefer misrepresentations rather than the steady progression towards understanding more about life and understanding more about the way the world works, and understanding more about the way that people works, the economy, society. And there's lots of information businesses out there, and a lot of the internet is swamped by them. Okay, so you can't actually just like go into Google and find precisely what you're after, or you'll find something which masquerades as precisely what you're after. And and it's going to be connected to one of these like chains of like ideologies, which is going out there and flooding the internet, and may actually sort of lead you to become like an extreme conservative, like what the conspiracy theorists, the ufologists, the extreme religious lunatics, all the things they're trying to do is just trying to turn you into some kind of like weird conservative loser, basically, who's just like willing to obey and believe and accept and be afraid, be very afraid. The Illuminati's out to get me. I mean, come on, chill. And realize there's things you don't know, and accept the fact there's things you don't know, and the progression of learning can happen with time. But there's better sources of information than Alex Jones and David Icke. Seriously. Point blank, there's better sources of information than Alex Jones and David Icke. I might just be a 36-year-old guy talking to a camera in his flat in between shifts of work, okay, but I'm brave enough to say when I don't know something. And there's so few people out there in the world who have the courage to be able to say I don't know. It's scary. Alright, just a fucking roundup. Speak to you in a while. Nick Dutch signing out for now. Don't let the Illuminati bite.